So we're recording again. Let's see, so team three.
Yeah.
Oh, I just have one question. Because I don't know that in 2 weeks, I'm like, it's 8 or not?
No, we spelled it.
Hang on, just like to remember for the, okay.
Is it better then?
Yes, for your grade.
What?
Oh, for a grade. Oh,
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will reconvene at this time. Having first looked at the preceding presentation from the general Huis van Brabantse Kempen group, at this point I will yield the floor to a group that has a more specialized focus on the same organization. Team 3, floor is yours.
Welcome everybody, and thank you for being present in our presentation. Our focus was on students connecting to Huis van Brabantse Kempen, so that's what we are going to discuss today. First, our index. We're going to introduce ourselves, and then the Huis van Brabantse Kempen as an organization, the current situation in comparison to the ideal situation, then the projects that we came up with for the Huis van Brabantse Kempen. We are discuss the conclusion, and we show you our perspective. So,
I'm Lisanne Smulders, 20 years old, and I'm a student of the Bachelor of Business Economics at Tilburg University.
I'm Esther Keijer, I'm 20 years old, also student of the Bachelor of Business Economics.
I'm Jette Bas, you can see on the slide, 23 years old. I'm studying a pre-master business law. It's a transition between HBO law and university master business law.
my name is Lisanne Eegraat, also 23 years old, and I'm a master student for the Communication and Information Services. Okay, then Ruth is going to discuss the introduction of Huis van Brabantse Kempen as an organization.
Yes, the introduction. First, I will tell you something about the background information of Huis van Brabantse Kempen. Huis van Brabantse Kempen was established in 2012. It is a nature reserve with open plains between small market cities. We are surrounded by large cities such as Eindhoven, Breda, Tilburg and Antwerp. The objective of Huis van Brabantse Kempen is to connect organizations and initiatives with using their lovely area. The Brabantse Kempen strengthens a booming economy, a comfortable social climate, and a nice living environment. The Brabantse Kempen works together and consists of that by working together with the following municipalities: Oorschot, Reuzenwierde, Bladel, Eersel and Bergheim. The purpose of Huis van Brabantse Kempen, the organization is focused on connecting, initiating and realizing regional projects. They are unique because Trade Platform Brabantse Kempen and Huis van Brabantse Kempen are working together for several years over now with also several parties. They would like to increase the vitality of their lovely region, and we want also to increase the fiber of the Brabantse Kempen through 3 programs: economy of vitality, agriculture and landscape, and vital life economy. Now, our project is about involving students with Huis van Brabantse Kempen. During our research, we saw that the students are not very involved by Huis van Brabantse Kempen. It's important to involve students by Huis van Brabantse Kempen because students are the future. They will bring new perspectives by their creativity ideas because they have another view on Huis van Brabantse Kempen than the stakeholders already have. Additionally, students often have different perspectives on products, initiatives, services and clients because of their education. Now, the project itself, we have 3 projects, and we proposed that to involve students by Huis van Brabantse Kempen. We have interviewed Nicole Eros, who will also present over here, and Peter van Overdijk, and we discussed our projects with them. And the other team members will introduce and explain the projects.
Yes, first of all, a sketch of the current situation in comparison to the ideal situation. The current situation is as follows. The area of Brabantse Kempen is not well known by students. There is no actual student life or bars or things that students prefer. So that's why they leave the region actually. Yeah, that's also a second point of our slide. Students are not really attracted by the area because of the little facilities that they have. An example of it was we had our interview with Nicole and Peter, and they asked us, where do you want to live or where do you see yourself in a couple of years? So we all answered with, Rotterdam or Amsterdam. It's not in Brabant at all, actually. So that was really, that stresses the problem that Huis is dealing with. And then we had the current situation sketched, and we discussed the ideal situation with them. We want to keep students in the region of Brabantse Kempen, and in order to do that, some things needs to be improved. For example, the infrastructure right now, public transport is not really optimal, and there's no real connection or train station in the region that connects all the areas. And also more facilities for students. So right now there is no, higher education such as a university or an HBO educational level, for example, where students can go to. So that's also a thing that maybe needs to be improved. Because right now they are only focusing on primary schools, am I saying that right? And high schools. So after that there is no option for students to have an education. So that's a part that needs to be improved. And that's also when students living in the region of Brabantse Kempen, they can participate in our projects that we made up for Huis van Brabantse Kempen. And by participating in those projects, they can come up with innovative and creative ideas for the region.
I'm telling you about the projects that we have. We all know now that the biggest problem on the Brabantse Kempen is that there are no universities and HBO education, etc. In the region of the Brabantse Kempen, because it's the outlying area. Our whole idea, before we get feedback from Peter and Nicole, was they already had just a trophy, and the trophy was more for the organizations and not involving the students, not enough. And that was with the best organization with the best innovative idea, get the trophy. And this was the same idea with the Kempen Tag. Kempen Tag is a couple of days in each year, a couple of days, which several organizations can present their own ideas. And we thought maybe it's a good idea to make these projects for the students. So not for the organizations, but only for the students, so they involve themselves with the Kempen. Why is this? What is this? It's competitive, so students are, they want to win and they want to have the best idea, and they perform a case, and they perform it for the Brabantse Kempen. So they have interaction with the organization, and so they learn, Paul, for example, and the other people in the organization. So they know the feeling and they know the interaction with them, or they like it or they don't like it. Why it's involvement of the students, so they better get to know the organization. With the feedback of the Huis van Brabantse Kempen, we came with the idea to combine these two projects. Why combining? Because both projects are competitive and willing to win, and it's the same idea for the students. So they can combine it and have more participants at the same time. And one sample question for these projects was what should Brabantse Kempen have to do to keep the students within the region? Because that's the biggest problem. So when they get the answer of the students themselves, they have a bigger chance to get this point better, and it's possible it isn't a problem anymore after that. Secondly, Nicole told us about a quiz. She went to Veldhoven and there was a quiz with 2,000 participants with many students. So I thought maybe it's a good idea to also make a quiz with them, the Kempen quiz. And maybe it's as well as a success as in Veldhoven. The last point was that it's what Lisanne just said. It's difficult to come in Eersel as an organization or the whole Brabantse Kempen. So by this project, it's maybe a good idea to arrange public transport between Eindhoven and Eersel, or another Tilburg and Eersel. So it's more easier to come to the organization, and they also can see the organization in real life, and not in Veldhoven of in Eindhoven. So they are really there, and the Brabantse Kempen can present themselves at their place.
Okay, I'm going to tell you about project social media. Nowadays we live in technological lifetime, so you can get your head around different platforms like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, etc. The problem with Huis van Brabantse Kempen is if you now type on Facebook Huis van Brabantse Kempen, you don't get a hit. So that's because they don't have a general Facebook page. What Huis van Brabantse do have is different Facebook page, but from a project only. So now this one is the Brabantse Kempen Studentenbureau. And what also the problem is with this page is that they don't have their own status updates, they're only sharing things, and that doesn't have a big reach. So I think that's a good thing if Huis van Brabantse Kempen starts their own Facebook page, for example. They are very active on Twitter, so that's a good thing. The use of social media is very cheap and easy, so it's a good thing to use that. And the students are one of the biggest groups who use social media, so if you want to attract them, make sure you use it. Post more, keep up to date, do status update, like if you, for example, if you care about the environment or you want to do something, you can around, click the link so you get link to the site of them for more information, things like that. Another thing to promote yourself is make use of the event you're planning. Ask 2 or 3 students like us, would you like to help us for one day, because we know now what Brabantse Kempen is. Let them walk around on that event, like if you make use of camping or something like that, let them wear shirts, have them flyer, walk around, talk with other students to make sure they know what Brabantse Kempen is. Our advice to Brabantse Kempen, taking everything into consideration, like the feedback we got and our initial ideas, is organize a competition where you can put Huis Kempen on the map. Students are very competitive and are likely to students are very competitive, so they are likely to take participate in a competition. and take, as I already said, take any promotion channel that you have on your disposal.
Then our prospectus. Before our presentation started, I give one to Aldo more, sure I didn't mention that. It's next to your laptop. And I also give one to Nicole, so you can have a look at that if you like. And I'm going to show you. So we come up with a prospectus regarding Huis van Brabantse Kempen. The title of the document is Increasing the Mobility in the Area of Brabantse Kempen, with a nice picture, of course. Then we made a text with who are we, in where we describing the organization. The text in the perspective is supposed to be for students, so it's written in a really simple text, and it's in the yeah, and we have it's mostly informational. Then we have what are we about. This is also a little sketch of what the organization does and where they're involving themselves in. And that they work with a multi-helix construct, for example. And, yeah, if you show them around, you can see it. Then we have example of program projects. So they work in different projects. As you can see here, economic vitality, horticultural landscape, and also leisure economics. So we sketch 3 projects that they did there. We also mentioned, very important, their telephone number and their social media channels, and of course their website. So students see that they are having those channels and they can visit their website. And then the second page, what can we mean to you? So this is a text regarding students, what Huis van Brabantse Kempen can offer students. Where some projects that we just discussed, they are described in that piece of text. And how can you get involved? There's also a piece of text where students can see how they can participate in the projects that we just mentioned, and yeah, how those projects will look like for them. And I think this is it. So we'd like to thank you for your attention, especially Nicole, who provided all the information for us, and of course Peter, who isn't present here, but he is also thanked. And are there any questions?
I don't have a question. It's a clear story. I like the brochure very much. Perspective. We had a nice interview, but you are the goal of the main, how do you say that? The doelgroep, the target group. We are searching for the way, not only students, but also we want to employ in the campus. So we also need to make the company stronger, so you can find employment in the campus. And it was very embarrassing that you answered so that you would like to work even in the campus because the companies are too small, and that was the main reason. They are too small and not attractive enough. So again, there is work for us and for the campus to do, because you are the example for many, and here there are other good people. And if you don't even want to work in the campus when you are afterstudent, yeah, dan gaat de bevolking ook verder naar beneden, zeg maar. Dus dat is echt wel een probleem. Dus ik ga het toch even in Nederlands doen hoor. Okay. Dus ik denk dat we inderdaad moeten beginnen met de bekendheid van de campus bij studenten. Dat is een begin. Dan hebben jullie denk ik een heel mooie uitdaging voor die hele weg van een quiz te maken. Maar ik denk dat we nog veel meer moeten doen om uiteindelijk, zeg maar, jullie ook in de campus te laten wonen, of liever jullie generatie in de campus te laten wonen. Het zijn kleine stapjes, ja, dus, maar dan moet uiteindelijk nog heel veel gedaan worden.
Yeah, and what in the interview was already said by Nicole and Peter is that if someone wants to go back to their home city where they came from, it's important they have something to go back. So they were already started by elementary children to do projects with them. So if you know on a young age what it has to give, then you will always remind it. So maybe later in time when they are students or something and Brabantse Kempen has grown, they already know it and there is a chance they go back.
Zeer bedankt.
Any further questions? All righty.
Yes, thank you. Very interesting also, and a nice compliment to the previous presentation. I think, by the way, when I look at the brochure, I like it very much. I think it's good to have that kind of material online also. One thing that I wonder, it's playing with the idea of students being the ambassadors, being the energy providers, being the scouts, the storytellers of all kinds of activities. And so you already in your, what I see now from your presentation and prospectus, you say we have different activities and it's important to kind of start weaving them together in common channels and things like that. So I wonder if, what kind of process could you design to go beyond the individual big events, like how could you get students, maybe also generations of students, because one of the issues with students, of course, is they're there and they're gone. But if the problem with innovation and regional development, this is a long-term process. So that how could you design a process where you hand over maybe stories to the next generation of students who continue telling the stories and expanding on the stories and making new connections between different projects, with which you could use the common platforms like a joint Facebook group, etc. But how do you? So one thing is to go the big way, like the splashy events, and that's great and it's important. But is there a way also to involve you in a more sustained basis?
We also have it with Nicola and Peter about EBT here on the campus of Tilburg University. I thought maybe when you had the conversation with them that it was the week of EBT. So we thought maybe it's a good idea to go to EBT, and that's a smaller event, and there are many students, and when you are going there or speaking with them, they already know it, and maybe you can say to them the Kempen tag is about 2 months or something like that. You involve them in that way. And what Esra just said about the elementary school, when you are beginning there in a couple of years, they are older and they know the Kempen also in that way. So maybe that's when they are 5 or 7 years old, and when they are our age, and then you combine these two at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, like, students are more and more busy with the environment and things like that. And Nicole already said they want a project that MBO students, HBO students, and university students work together. So if you find an attractive project like how do we get the environment or sustainable living in Kempen better, you already have 3 different groups working together, and mouth-to-mouth promotion is someone's problem too. So if you get a contract with a school or like Tilburg University, the Waypon or something like that, and you turn the project every year, okay, so you say, pick the best students in class, tell you, okay, you have an interesting proposal, do you want to do this? And because of students are busy with environment things like that, it's a good thing, it's a win-win situation for Huis van Brabantse Kempen. They get, if the project works out good mouth-to-mouth promotion, and for the students they have something to do, something to put on their CV, and they also do something that they think that matters. So they help the environment and things like that. And I think if that project works out good, it can be bigger and bigger and promoted in other regions, other companies in other different places in Netherlands will begin that too. So it will be something successful and put Huis van Brabantse Kempen on the map.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I thought as well, maybe, as I mentioned in the presentation, providing an education on higher level for students, so they have actually an education in the region where they are living, and they don't have to leave the region for example, a city as Tilburg or Amsterdam or something. So that's also a sustainable way to keep them in the region as well.
Thank you.
I think that was it.
Yes, I do.
Other questions?
Did anyone have another question? Then I think we're done. Thank you very much.
Well, one of the things that I pointed out way at the beginning of the course is that I said that working with real-world situations is exciting because there are things you cannot simulate, and also things that you cannot predict. In this case, some elements or events took place that were very unpredictable and all came together with respect to 4. So they have been granted a postponement. So in fact, at this point in time, we are going to adjourn this session. But I would not be an English teacher of note if I didn't remind you about some things just before we leave. The first is that at this point in time, let me just cancel this out for a moment. Let's see. There we go. Is what do I need from you at this point in time? Obviously, I need the, well, basically, your individual portfolios with all of the information and materials that have been stipulated. So I need to see those. I need to also see, you should have with you also today separately the proposals plus prospectus that was that you can also likewise hand in. What I would ask of you with respect to the proposals and prospectus is we would be very grateful if you could also send those in electronic form, both to me and to Aldo Demore. I've put his email online as well. I would also ask of you, especially since I thought they were particularly well done this year, if you could please email to the both of us your visual aids, so the prezis or the PowerPoints that you use. So the visuals by email, and I'm also going to remind you of something. I'm very happy that you're in the room right now because I will use you then as my visual prop. Remember, we absolutely positively need the organizations to sign off on what Aldo can use and put online. So make sure, Huis from Brabantse Kempen groups, get permission for these groups, please, as quickly as possible, and make sure that we're notified of that, and that so then Aldo can post his stuff, and then we're good. That being said, I believe with that, and your presentations, ladies and gentlemen, we brought this to an end. I want to say, as is always the case, but particularly this year, I said it from the start, and I was vindicated. I thought this was a very strong and committed team. You did really good work. I was very proud of you and very happy with what I saw, and you will see that reflected in the grades. Thank you very much for all that you've done and your participation. Aldo, Nicole, also thank you very much for being here today. And with all being said and done, it's over. Yes, sir.
Yes, and I would also like to thank you on behalf of the social innovators of the region for a great job. Well done. It's very complex, as you have experience doing it the hard way, and some cases there are complications, but it doesn't mean that you're not doing your job, so that's part of it. So don't despair. This is all part of social innovation in practice. So I think, yeah, it's a very hard beast difficult beast to tame, and you're never done taming it, well, as you know, but all the other cases as well. It's always work in progress. You always have too little resources. Things are fuzzy. That's what social innovation is. It's about one of the most complex activities that you can think of. Collaboration is very complex. Social innovation is about one of the most complex forms of collaboration that you can imagine. And you've done a good job at trying to get us a little bit further. So again, thank you very much and good luck with all your future work. And well, keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.